Me, 27 female, with my boyfriend, 50 male. Oh, sorry. Of 3 months. His kid warned me about him. Red flag, trigger warnings, neglect, and alienation. I've been dating Jesse for about 3 months. It's been a bit of a whirlwind romance. Jesse is the kind of guy I've always wanted, confident and smart, and makes me feel like a princess. The sex is great, and I feel like we have a deep connection. Last Friday, Jesse and I went out and ran into his son, Julian, 19, at the bar. Julian shouldn't have been there as he is underage, so I assume he had a fake ID. Jesse was excited to see him, but Julian seemed like he didn't want to see Jesse at all. It was very awkward. Later, while Jesse was talking to someone he knew from work, Julian approached me. He told me, "He'll get tired of you. He won't care about you anymore and just see you as something he has to spend money on, and then he'll find something new. He always does." He said he was sorry and then left the bar. I didn't know how to respond, so I talked to Jesse. He told me how his ex-wife and stepdaughters had poisoned Julian against him. I've always known Jesse to be very generous, so I don't believe the money part is true, but I do know that Jesse hardly ever spends time with his son. He says Julian won't answer his calls or texts and avoids him. Jesse also works a significant amount and finds it difficult to balance his time. How do I know if this is a red flag or not? This kid could just have a warped perception of his father, but I can't help but feel bad for Julian. He seemed really sad at the bar. I'm assuming he's probably right. Also, how old is the son, please? 19? Oh, okay. I mean, immediate reaction, like the age 27 and 50. Jankies. The bachelors that are like older and they're like constantly, first of all, dating younger girls and also constantly being like looking for a new relationship or something. Like, it's giving that you probably don't want to be in a relationship or like you, like, it's giving like I probably wouldn't want to get into a relationship with a guy like that because I'm kind of scared of why, like, why is he not in a relationship? And why is he going after a 27-year-old? That's my immediate reaction. I would be like, also, yeah, I'm sure I mean, I don't feel like his son has anything to get out of that. Like, being honest with her, it's not like what would he be trying to get out of that? It's not like he's trying to get money from her or anything. And of course, and it's also kind of like big red flag that like his ex-wife and stepdaughters and everyone's just against him. Like, oh, they turned everyone against me, even my own son. Or maybe you're the problem. Maybe, just maybe, the 50-year-old that's dating a 27-year-old is the problem. I am 27 years old, and if I dated a 50-year-old, God help me. Okay. Someone said, Julian's mother, the said ex-wife, it would be pretty messed up to me if a biological child chose his stepmother and stepsisters over his father, and that would be a serious red flag to me. OP said, she is the mother. His sisters are half siblings. And then someone said, I'm always surprised at just how biased this subreddit is against relationships with age gaps. It's not like you're 18 and he's preying on your inexperience. You're a grown woman. There's nothing inherently wrong with the age gap in your relationship. Anyway, never let someone else into your relationship. This kid clearly has an agenda, and he probably doesn't have your best interest at heart. This is supported by the fact that Jesse's excitement to see his son only went one way. There's a bitterness there, and it's not coming from Jesse. Keep Julian's words in mind in case you see any other red flags, like how did Jesse's previous relationships go? But don't let those words supersede your gut feeling about the relationship. Girl. I don't know if you're a girl or not, but girl. A grown woman? I mean, yeah, I do consider myself grown, but like definitely at a completely different level than a 50-year-old with 23 more years of experience in life than me. Like, that is a big difference. That is a big difference. Just because, sorry, I'm biased, apparently. I am. I'm sorry. I'm biased. Like, I just think no, it's like, I do think that there is that, like, inexperience that you're mentioning. There is a little bit of that. Like, just because you're not 18 doesn't mean that you're not inexperienced. Like, I'm still inexperienced. I'm 27. I'm still inexperienced. Like, especially compared to a 50-year-old who's experienced so much more life and had kids and raised a child who is now like an adult, who is a 19-year-old. Like, someone said he's 50 years old chasing after a 27-year-old. Listen to his son. Someone that feels too good to be true usually is. And then someone said, you're 27, he's 50. He's with you because you're significantly younger and have a better body and a higher sex drive than women his own age. Open your eyes. If Julian were 12, then maybe don't believe him. But he's 19. Had his mom poison him against Jesse, then Julian would have come to the realization by now that his mom was lying. I'm sure there's a reason, yeah, for sure, that he was like, oh, so swayed to take his mom's side on that. Okay, this is 3 months later. Hi, it's been a couple of months since my last post. Thanks for all of the advice, even though it was tough to hear. I ended up deciding to move forward with the relationship, but keep an eye out for any other red flags. To backtrack, early in our relationship, I got a text from a friend of mine that had seen Jesse at the local strip club. I spoke to Jesse about it, and he said he did not consider it cheating because he did not get lap dances or touch the dancers. I let him know then that I would let it slide, but in the future, I'm not okay with him going to strip clubs without talking to me about it first. He agreed. But I kept noticing he would be out working late. He told me he had an emergency, flood, and had to work late, and I ended up seeing him at a gas station that I was driving by. I stopped and talked to him, and he said he had just gotten off work, but he smelled like cigarettes and alcohol, and his clothes weren't dirty like they typically are when he works flood damages. I also noticed he was very protective of his work phone. He leaves his other cell phone out all the time, but once I asked to use his work phone to look something up, and he basically told me no and to go get my phone charging in the other room. It all just built up, so I snooped. I got up in the middle of the night when I was staying at his place, and I looked through both phones. On his work phone, I found texts to escorts and strippers. On his other cell, I found a ton of texts to his ex-wife, who he promised me he didn't talk to anymore unless it was about Julian. Apparently, she just started dating again a month ago, and he absolutely shredded her for it. He said some very cruel things like, "You must have found a guy who loves fat asses if he'll be seen with you." She never replied, as far as I can tell. Looking at those texts, I knew that any future with Jesse was going to end like this. I also saw that he never messages Julian. What's worse, their text feed is Julian reaching out every couple of months and getting ignored. One text from a few months ago was Julian telling him that his band had a gig and asked if he would come. I remember that weekend. Me and Jesse stayed in that night and had a bunch of sex. He never even mentioned his son had a show. I felt so sick. I went online and bought 10 copies of his band's EP a few days later. In the end, I decided to just ghost him. He obviously had no respect for our relationship, and I felt I didn't know him anything. When he was at work, I got all of my things out of his apartment and left a note. I just wrote that his family was right about him and to not contact me again. He texted me later that he had an emergency and had to work late. He obviously hadn't seen my note, and I just didn't respond. The next day, he found the note and started messaging me about it. I decided to take a page from his ex-wife's book and ignore him. As the week moved on and he realized I was serious, the messages started getting hateful, things that I don't care to repeat. I blocked his number then. It is disturbing for me to think about what a cruel and vicious person he ended up being. If Julian hadn't talked to me at that bar, how much longer would it have taken for me to see this side of him? I also have this weird guilty feeling that I'm a homewrecker, even though Jesse obviously wrecked his home himself. I really thought of me and Jesse as having a potential for a long-term relationship. It hurts to have those hopes crushed. I'm not getting any younger. Girl, you're 27. I got a lot of comments last post about the age gap. I'm not really interested in that. I know several couples with significant age gaps. I'm a grown woman, not a teenager, and I can choose to date someone older. Hopefully it won't be an asshole next time. Okay, of course, you can choose to date someone older, but I'm just saying there's a reason that they're older and they're not in a relationship, and it's probably because they don't really want to be, and they see them as very temporary, right? Like, look at Dave Portnoy for an example. He strings these young 24, 25-year-olds along and then he cuts them off because he doesn't want to be married. He doesn't want to have kids. He's just like a guy that is stuck in his glory days. Sorry, I hope Dave Portnoy doesn't see this and tear me to shreds. He's never going to see this, but you know what I mean? It's like because typically, yeah, it's their decision. I mean, obviously, there are other cases where it's like maybe they're widows or maybe it's like they just actually don't want to be in a relationship. But a lot of the time, if you're dating a 50-year-old and you're in your 20s, that's going to be the type of guy that you're dating. You're dating one of those bachelor men that, like, you look in their fridge and all there is a can of Bush Light and they go to strip clubs with their friends at night. Like, it's not her fault at all. Never going to blame her, but also just keep that in mind when you're like trying to I don't know. I just feel like more often than not, usually an age gap relationship, when it happens to be an older man and a younger woman, it's usually the guy is just, there's a reason he's single. There's a reason he's in and out of relationships because he either is stringing these girls along or he just literally sucks. And that's him, this type of personality. Like, he's going to the strip club. He's saying he has to work late at night and he's going to a strip club. And he's probably literally sleeping with so many escorts. Someone said, good on you for getting out. Think about dropping a note to Julian so you can thank him for the warning. The kid might feel better knowing that his warning helped someone for once. Besides, it can be validating when dealing with an abusive asshole to have someone else go, yep, he's a jerk. And you were right. Oh, she also said, edit, thanks for teaching me a lesson. This is a painful time for me. I won't be responding to any more comments or PMs. Thanks. And then someone said, the age difference is a big thing. Do you relate to someone who is 23 years older than you? If you intend to be with this person for the foreseeable future, have you considered that in 10 years, when you are not even 40 yet, he will be 60? Yes, you are a grown woman, but why so much older? There's a reason people are making comments. But you're right, it's your life. If you're not interested in advice, don't take it or ask for it. OP said, I obviously don't see myself with him in the future because I broke it off with him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, girl. I'm sorry you're going through that. I don't want to be like a judgmental asshole or anything. And I don't want to be like, I told you so. I told you so. Because, yeah, at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to be putting that blame on the woman for choosing a shitty man. It's the shitty man's fault for being a shitty man. And I don't want to be like, I don't want to be a misogynist and be like, well, you should have known better, you know, which is kind of what I've been doing for the past, like, 5 minutes. So I do apologize for that. But, like, men at any age can be like little chungus, you know, like men at any age. So it's really not about the age, but there are things to say about the age, in my opinion. And you deserve someone that isn't gonna disrespect you and go to strip clubs and be a stupid chungus, okay? The top comment says, pretends to be shocked by the update. Jesse works so much and finds it so hard to balance his time. But there's always time for sex and love bombing and following up on his ex's love life so he can tear her down some more. Yeah, he is the biggest POS ever. Because him texting his ex-wife being like, you're probably saying that she's like an old, saggy lady with like, I don't even know what he's saying, but probably some really shitty things like that, because men that are older, like shitty men that are older, love to be like shitting on women's ages. Like, oh my God, that's the craziest. That's the craziest part is like these men that are like 50 will comment on a woman being like 40 and being like, no one wants your old ass. No one wants your old saggy ass. Like, That is always the craziest thing to me.
Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.